Tonight on News 5 Live, a San Pedrano is shot and killed in Lake Independence. The Ministries of Health and Wellness and Tourism respond to the latest announcement on U.S. travel measures. And Dallas Mavericks starter Reggie Bullock is in Belize on vacation, but he was sure to stop by and give a pep talk to the dozens of young basketball fans. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Watch The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. exclusively on Channel 5 Belize. The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings every Sunday at 8 a.m. on Channel 5 Belize.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Yeah, I know him before he in my womb. From I know he nobody ever disrespected him. Because then he is who he is. He is gay, he is friendly, and everybody respectable. Just respect him for who he is. In a human being. Just the word hate means to me that no got no meaning because you're not for hate. If I love everything, I appreciate. I live in Belmopan, I live around Guatemalans, Hondurans, Spanish, Maya, Creole, Garifuna. As I said, growing up, right? They say love your neighbors. Neighbor need to look out for one another.
That's our benefit are we the people supposed to pay.
The fund thing you pay now, but when you get old, you got fund thing for your future.
If you miss some days from work, they should have compensated for that.
As an artist, I'm not really sure because I work for myself.
What is Social Security? Social Security is not a tax. Social Security is a very small investment in you, the worker. It's an investment that you can count on now or in the future. It is designed to replace part of your income from wages when you get sick, get injured on the job, have a baby on the way, become disabled, or even when you pass away. And even then, the widow and your kids, if under 16 years or under 21 years and in school, obtain survivor's pension. And after a lifetime of working, you can rest assured you will have a monthly retirement income. Social Security, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Compostable plastics. To understand what a compostable plastic is, we need to know that composting is a natural way to recycle decomposed organic material like oranges or banana peels. So, a compostable plastic is similar to the banana peel in the sense that it also undergoes biological decomposition in a compost site and doesn't leave any toxic residue. In fact, it breaks down into carbon dioxide, water, inorganic compounds, and biomass at a similar rate of compostable materials. This is great because once properly disposed of, compostable plastic food packaging would be broken down in a manner much kinder to the environment compared to plastics. The recycled materials would return to Earth quickly and safely as soil when disposed of in the right environmental conditions and temperatures. It's important to note that for decomposition to occur, all compostable products must reach a sanitary landfill, where there is proper management of the waste through disposal and treatment. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, June 10th. I am Annalyn Apollonio. A San Pedro resident was shot dead in the Lake Independence area of Belize City this morning, and police are trying to close in on the shooter. But that might be easier said than done, because up to news time, the gunman was identified only as an unknown person. The San Pedrano was in Belize City on vacation to celebrate with his family. They say he was in that area visiting an old friend who is wheelchair bound, but death came looking for him. Now, instead of celebrating, they are preparing his funeral while the police try to solve the old capital's latest murder. News 5's Marian Ali was on the scene to piece together the story. Here's her report.
He never make me granny. He never have no kids. He just started life. He just gave property paper early this year. Promised me that he'll get a loan by the end of the year and start bill.
None of these wishes of a mother will come to pass because this morning, Desmond Lawrence Budna was shot dead as he walked on Amandala Drive extension and was about to head onto Lavender Street. It happened around 8:35 a.m. and the 28-year-old collapsed and died on the spot. The construction worker lived in San Pedro, and his mother, Arlene Budna, told reporters today that he worked every day.
He go work every day. He just come here off a boat yesterday morning to come for graduation and birthday party. Two sisters, the two smallest one of the family. So he was to go to Belmopan today for the birthday bash tomorrow with his sister. And he made a wrap it here. He going to wrap it here because he have dreads. Going to wrap it because it look too rumpled, you know. And he's supposed to make gone with she in a vehicle, but just stands that he had to do something and she made done ready for go. She made done the way by Hattieville and she turned back when she heard this.
The family believes that Budna went to visit a friend from San Pedro who is confined to a wheelchair ever since he too became a victim of gun violence.
So he gone look for her because we called her last night. I tell my daughter, tell her make we could get her and bring her here, make we hang out. And my daughter said she did text her. And he may say he alright or he never want to come, so, you know. The first time he got hang there, his life is gone.
Arlene Budna believes that her son had his vacation pay on him, but she doesn't believe that it was robbery. Instead, jealousy may have been the motive behind his killing, she says.
He depend 2 weeks vacation pay every year, and you get leave holiday pay, and he get pay and he come in. He usually go buy like 5 suit of clothes, treat himself, sit down with her 2 friends, or go to his sister, or go to money. He got money, but that's not a robbery. I guess maybe they're just jealous, because when he buy 5 suit, new Jordan slippers, cap. He like look good.
Scenes of crime personnel took a few hours to process the area and to collect material evidence. What would make for additional evidence is footage from this surveillance camera that may have captured the incident. It stands immediately above the location where Budna was targeted. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marian Ali.
There has been a noticeable quiet when it comes to gang violence in Belize City recently. The Ministry of Home Affairs, through the Leadership Intervention Unit, has been working tirelessly with young men across the old capital who are involved in gang activity. Last weekend, no incident of gang-related crime was reported, and the murder of Desmond Budna in Lake Independence this morning is believed to be the result of a drug deal gone bad. That's according to Minister of Home Affairs Karim Musa, who spoke with News 5 about the state of crime and violence in Belize City.
Last October, we implemented the Leadership Intervention Unit, and that has certainly been yielding some dividends. We have intervention taking place all across the city on a daily basis. You don't see the amount of murders that we actually prevent or that Mr. Dawson and his team actually prevent. And I think in the last month we have seen where the murder rate has gone down, and we're very thankful for that. I know that this morning we had an unfortunate incident, but certainly it doesn't seem to be gang related. From what I am being informed, it could possibly be a drug related murder, but at the same time we still have to be vigilant, not just the Leadership Intervention Unit, but I also want to congratulate all of the hard-working men and women in the police department who have really intensified their efforts on the ground over the last 4 months or so, and we're seeing the results of that. And so it's multiple approaches that we've been implementing and certainly yielding good success.
A mechanic was shot at his home late Thursday night by someone who went looking for his son. Carlton Belial Sr. was reportedly inside around 11 o'clock when he heard someone calling out for his namesake's son. When the father went to see who it was, he was met with a barrage of gunshots. The incident occurred at mile 16 and a half on the George Price Highway. The 56-year-old suffered multiple gunshot wounds and is receiving treatment at the KHMH. His common-law wife, Abigail Garbott, spoke with News 5 off camera about what happened.
After a while, he opened the door and he asked who that were. And the person must have gone behind the bus, so he no seen it. He come back and he get the flashlight and he gone outside. Then when he gone outside, while after I hear all the shots start ring up outside.
Shots?
About 7, 8. And he gone outside, so I sit down on the bed and I said, but wait, you know, coming in. So I call the police first, and then I call my son over there and I say, you hear that? He say, yeah, where daddy? I tell her, daddy, they out there.
Coming up, the Ministry of Health and Wellness gives an update on the countrywide COVID vaccine campaign.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says men cry out under a load of oppression. They plead for relief from the arm of the powerful. But no one says, where is God my Maker who gives songs in the night? From time immemorial, music has been the medicine for a breaking heart and a hurting soul. And in our moments of darkest despair, God seems always to give us a song in the night. Such was the case of Luther Bridges, a young 26-year-old Methodist preacher and student at Asbury College in Kentucky. With a wife and 3 children, his future looked bright until that tragic night in 1910 while visiting his wife's parents in Harrodsburg, Kentucky. After the family had retired for the night, a neighbor noticed flames coming from the house and aroused Mrs. Bridges' parents and Luther, but the rest of the family members were beyond reach. The young pastor lost his wife and children. In the awful days that followed, he later related that God comforted him with His presence and by giving him songs in the night. During this time, Luther wrote the words and music to many songs we sing today, like There's Within My Heart a Melody, Jesus whispers sweet and low, Fear not, I am with thee, peace be still, in all of life's ebb and flow. In the 4th stanza, he referred to his own experience. Though sometimes he leads through waters deep, trials fall across the way. As Job reminds us, in our dark moments, our answer is not in the powerful, but by calling out to Him who gives songs in the night. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Digi, the premier name in voice and data, is also the country's leading provider of innovative services and solutions for small business and enterprise. At Digi Business, we offer solutions, tools, and applications to support your business needs. Reduce costs, improve efficiency, and excel in a changing world where no idea is too big and no task is too small. From technology advising to design implementation and management, our team of qualified solution sales and specialists can develop a reliable and robust infrastructure, allowing you to spend more time on what matters most, your business. Visit us online to explore how DigiBusiness innovative products and solutions can help your business reduce costs and improve efficiency.
Earlier today, the United States government announced that it is ending the requirement that international airplane travelers test negative for COVID-19 before entering the U.S. This mandate will expire on June 12th, as the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has determined that the testing requirement is no longer needed. In Belize, the Ministry of Health and Wellness already began lifting several of those measures a few weeks ago. While the latest announcement from CDC comes as good news for the tourism sector, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is anticipating a comprehensive report on Monday by the U.S. agency on the lifting of this travel requirement.
We had removed restrictions except for unvaccinated persons leaving the country, and persons coming into the country were required to test only if they were not vaccinated or couldn't prove vaccination, as opposed to the United States, where if you're traveling to the United States currently, until now that the CDC has made the announcement, whether you are vaccinated or not, they were requiring you to take a negative COVID test. So I'm not sure what will be the final recommendation to the government of the U.S. in terms of their other restrictions. We are, of course, in our Belize context, continuing to maintain that we need to keep our regulation as is for now, where once you cannot prove that you are vaccinated, that you provide a negative test coming in. But that is not required if you are vaccinated. That's the current position of the government of Belize. We are, however, as a ministry, going to look at the details over the weekend, and when the official information comes out from the CDC on Monday, as they have promised, we will then review our position, and as a team, we're going to review. We don't want to be seen as if we are just jumping after what the United States does. I think that Belize has been very, very effective in the way we have been carrying and managing the entire situation. But we are going to monitor the effects, and of course, as you know, our colleagues in the tourism sector have always been clamoring for the entire restrictions to be lifted. So we are going to have to sit with them, look at what this change means for us, and then we'll move from there.
In the travel and leisure sector, the Ministry of Tourism welcomes the good news, as it is simply meaning that more international visitors will be arriving to Belize without the hassle of having to return to the United States with negative COVID test results in hand. Chief Executive Officer Nicole Solano also spoke with News 5 earlier today.
We did hear the announcement this morning that CDC intends to remove the requirement for international travelers traveling into the U.S. to present a negative COVID test. That is something that has been in effect since last year, the beginning of last year. So we've been dealing with that since the beginning of 2021. And actually, at the end of the year last year in 2021, December, they actually opted where travelers, international travelers who were returning to the U.S. had to present that test within 24 hours. So it was an extra measure that all of our tourists traveling back to the U.S. had to engage in that. So really, when we heard the announcement of the intention to remove that requirement this coming weekend on Sunday, we took it as very good news for the tourism industry because it's one less requirement for our international travelers.
Well, I am certain that the Ministry of Health and Wellness would perhaps have its own concerns or view on this matter. In terms of tourism, nonetheless, what implications would this have on people arriving into Belize wanting to vacation here?
Okay, well, you mentioned the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and of course, the perspective from the Ministry of Health is an important one for our country. We have removed a lot of the requirements for COVID over the last few months and opened up a lot more. So some of those decisions were made given the current situation of COVID. Now, the Ministry of Health will continue to make any additional changes to those regulations as they see fit. So I do encourage you to contact them and see what their perspective is on it. Rightfully so, from a tourism perspective, we would like to see as much freedom of movement, but of course that depends on the existing COVID situation. It's fluid, cases are up and down. The severity of cases change. But we've seen over the months where even though the number of cases may be up and down, the severity of those cases are low. So we do see this from a tourism perspective as a positive thing, so that our travelers don't have to engage in an additional step in order to depart the country. Insurance and what we've seen with the insurance, which was implemented initially due to COVID and the potential for our tourists to be testing positive on departure and having to stay longer periods before they test negative in order to return. That has been in effect, and that has been something that has been utilized. And the insurance companies have indicated to us that beyond just COVID, they have been seeing claims for many other types of things. So that is something that will need to be evaluated going forward. The extent to which that will remain necessary. We are doing that internal review and evaluation, and depending on the outcome, then we would then make recommendations.
For the past 2 weeks, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, has had health personnel visit primary schools across the country to administer COVID pediatric vaccines to children ages 5 to 11. Those young students had to produce a consent form from their parents for them to get a first jab, which provides an initial layer of protection against the deadly virus. But like the adult vaccination, there is some hesitation on the part of parents, and the number of children getting vaccinated is low. Education Minister Francis Fonseca says it has been a challenging process.
It's a challenging process. It's an ongoing process. We work very closely with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. What we have done from our part, what we are able to do is to make all of our schools accessible. We have worked with our managing authorities across the country, worked with the union to make sure that our teachers are there to support the students, make sure the classrooms are open. We work with the Ministry of Health to set up a schedule across the country for the vaccinations of these 5 to 11-year-old students. So, it's going, I think it's going a little slow. And that's what I expected. I know, when it comes to small children, you'll appreciate that parents are very, very cautious. They're very concerned. So there's a wait and see approach in terms of the vaccine. But what's important is that it's available and that parents and our school communities know that they can access it if they need it. We believe firmly that, if our students are vaccinated, that provides additional protection for them, for our teachers and our school community. So we certainly hope between now and the opening of school in August that more of our students at that level will get vaccinated, because that presents an opportunity for us to have less interruptions in the school academic year.
News 5 also spoke with Health Minister Kevin Bernard, who provided an update on the rollout of pediatric vaccines across the country. He also spoke briefly on the gradual decline in the number of adults who have been showing up at vaccination sites to get inoculated against COVID-19.
As you know, we have already started the rollout of the vaccine this week. I know that we are working with the schools. The schools have been very much cooperating. There have been a lot of parents cooperating, and we are aggressively going after our role of target to ensure that we could vaccinate as much of our young children between that 5 age to 11. We have enough vaccine to at least vaccinate 85% of that target population. You know, from way back in, I believe in March, there have been a few slow uptake of the adult vaccine. We also have to understand that there were some persons who had taken their first dose of AstraZeneca and were not able to get the AstraZeneca since some of those were expired. We are in the process of getting, I believe, 10,000 doses of AstraZeneca, which is being donated to us, and we are also getting adult Pfizer vaccines. Mexico has pledged to offer pediatric Pfizer, but we opted to ask them to offer the adult Pfizer instead, since we have enough of the pediatric Pfizer vaccine in hand. We believe, though, that with the target of our young population, we will reach our goal of 70% by the end of the month of September 2020.
After the break, the Ministry of Education identifies serious learning gaps amid the COVID pandemic. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
Un proveedor de servicio móvil que te permita estar conectado con una cobertura LTE rápida y confiable en cualquier instante y desde cualquier lugar. ¿Quieres hablar con tu familia? ¿Compartir tus experiencias con alguien especial? ¿Administrar tu pequeña empresa? Para todo lo que necesites te mereces la mejor experiencia móvil. Ahora puedes hacer mucho más con los planes de datos postpago aumentados de Digi. Puedes disfrutar de 8 GB de datos en cualquier instante por tan solo $55 mensuales. O puedes compartir hasta 120 GB con 6 de tus amigos más cercanos. Estos son más datos LTE para que disfrutes durante el día, por las noches y los fines de semana sin restricciones. Disfruta a lo máximo con más datos para llamadas y mensajes ilimitados en todos los planes postpago de Digi. Visita la tienda Digi más cercana para inscribirte hoy. Solo necesitas una identificación válida y un comprobante de domicilio. Únete a la red de mayor velocidad y cobertura en Belice. Para más información visita nuestra página web www.livedigi.com o envíanos un mensaje a través de WhatsApp o Facebook. Digi, nuestra telecomunicación nacional.
When all hope is lost and the days ahead look grim, we find ourselves looking for someone to shake things up, rescue us, and point us in the right direction. What if the one we've been waiting for has been here all along? Join us for our new series, Troublemaker, as we learn about a man who wasn't afraid to stand up for what's right to make this world a better place.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
June is full of joy at Cellular World. Cheers to our graduates and their dads, because during this month, we should come together to recognize their efforts with a meaningful gift. Give them a gadget to improve their life or that they will enjoy, such as a laptop for future university students or a cell phone or tablet for dad that wants to keep in touch. At Cellular World, we have great gift options for those that you love. Even better, we are giving away free scratch and win cards with every purchase over $25. Visit us at our stores in Belize City, Belmopan, and San Pedro, or shop with us online by sending us a message on WhatsApp at 615-5141. Find the perfect gift for your dad or grad at Cellular World.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
As the 2021 school year is coming to an end, the Ministry of Education has conducted an assessment on the learning loss during COVID. And the test suggests that students are not where they are supposed to be, and the learning gap was hardest felt on core subject areas, including mathematics, English, and science. Today, Minister of Education Francis Fonseca confirmed with the media the results of the Belize Diagnostic Assessment Test better known as BDAT.
Generally, those assessment tests are establishing very clearly that our children have fallen behind, particularly in the areas of math, science, and English. Those are three critically important areas. So there's a lot of work to do. It's no surprise to us. We knew that. We just wanted to really validate that sense that we had with data and information, and we've done that.
Have schools been instructed to promote children to the next grade no matter what the stage of their education is right now?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. In fact, in many schools across the country, we're talking now primary schools, in many schools across the country, students will have to repeat and do an additional year. And that's it's true also at the secondary level and in lesser numbers. But no such instructions. We would not engage in that. That would be foolish. It would be misguided. We have to understand where students are, what they have lost, and we have to work on addressing those gaps that have been identified.
The Ministry of Education is launching a summer program as an immediate step to addressing the learning deficit as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
There's a lot of work to do, but we're taking immediate steps to address that issue. We're launching very shortly a summer program, a loss mitigation summer program across the country that will target directly those gaps, those learning gaps that have been identified. We're working with master teachers. We're taking on some retired teachers who will specifically work with these students throughout the country on addressing those learning gaps that have been identified.
Is there any plan to reopen school early, ahead of earlier in August?
We have discussed that issue. Obviously, it's not a decision we can make on our own. We have to consult and engage with the teachers' union, for example, and our other stakeholders, the managing authorities. So that's not an easy one. We've discussed it. But so far, no decision has been made to open school early.
A meeting was held today between school bus operators from the South, the Minister of State for Education, Dr. Louis Zabane, CEO Diane Mejia, and a finance officer over their contracts. The bus operators claim that they are operating at a loss due to the increase in fuel prices, and so the ministry is reaching out to see what kind of relief can be given to them. Minister Francis Fonseca shares GOB's perspective on the matter.
They signed off on contracts at a specific value, and of course, that value no longer fits in with the cost of fuel. So it's something we're working along with them to try to address. I can tell you that today, this afternoon at 1 o'clock, the ministry, Minister Zabane, along with the CEO, is meeting with bus contractors in the South, both from Toledo and Stang Creek. They're meeting in Independence, along with the finance officer of the ministry, to address this issue, to address their concerns. And coming out of this meeting this afternoon, they will then make specific recommendations to me about what we can do to address any issues that have, concerns that arise. So it's really an issue of economics. It's not capacity, it's economics. I've already discussed it with the Ministry of Finance and the Prime Minister to see if, we will have to adjust the contracts because the people are not making any money. In fact, they're losing money given the cost of fuel, diesel. And so we are working on that. But as I said, we want to have this meeting today because the main problem is in the south of the country. We want to have this meeting today. And coming out of that meeting, next week we will put together specific recommendations to the Ministry of Finance to address the matter.
The Minister of Education has chimed in on an allegation that a student has been denied enrollment at 2 church-based primary schools, purportedly because the child wears dreadlocks. The Human Rights Commission of Belize has since issued a statement saying that it is every child's right to an education. Today, Minister Francis Fonseca says that according to the law, no child can be denied access to any educational institution because of their natural hair as a result of cultural or personal beliefs. He shared the details of an investigation carried out by the ministry.
Both in terms of the law and education policy, there is absolutely no room for discrimination against any child because of their hair, their natural hair, or anything of that sort. So that's would be unlawful, it would be unconstitutional. But I can say that based on our preliminary investigation into the matter, it was an issue of spacing, certainly in terms of one school. I'm not sure about the other school as yet. I think the father said he went to more than one school. But certainly in terms of the first school, it was an issue of spacing. But absolutely the Education Act and the Constitution of Belize provide protection. Section 48 of the Education Act speaks to that very issue of schooling and making sure that no child is denied access to school for any such reason.
On Thursday night, you heard about the call for food vendors for the first of its kind Belize International Music and Food Festival to be held in San Pedro at the end of July. Aside from the tourism aspect, it is also a two-day event that will showcase the cultural diversity of the country in music and food. Minister of Culture Francis Fonseca says that his ministry is working closely with the BTB on this initiative to provide a stage for artists.
The festival has two primary objectives. One is BTB wants to announce the reopening of Belize. We're open for business. A festival is a fantastic way of doing that. But for me, personally, the more important objective for me is giving a lifting hand, a supporting hand to the creative community, giving them a stage. As you know, our artists have been, essentially locked out of earning an income for almost 2 years. So this is a sort of breakout party for them. It's critically important for us to work together, culture, niche and BTB, to promote our artists, to promote Belizean culture and history. So that's what we're doing. This festival provides a good opportunity to do that. So we are partners, we are part sponsors in this festival. And we're very proud of that and happy to be a part of that.
When we return, a new library is inaugurated in Hattieville. But first, here's the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
The government of Belize has been blazing a trail and delivering on every milestone of its tax reform program. Iris Belize was launched in 2021 and its second phase is here in 2022. It provides taxpayers and or their representatives with the ability to sign up for Iris Belize. You'll now be able to inquire, file, and pay online. This means that tax clients like you are able to sign up online and get access to individual and companies' tax accounts. No more long lines. Contactless, safe, prompt support from the privacy and safety of your homes and offices.
It's Super Handy Dad's month again at Brothers Habit and Habet and Habet, and that means super deals and super gifts for that super special dad. And we're bringing the power to all Super Handy Dads all month with 15% off all power tools and accessories from Stanley, Black & Decker, DeWalt, Skill and Bosch, and 15% off our entire brand new line of Track automotive batteries. Super powerful! Plus super clearance deals on Westinghouse lights, select paint colors, and much more. So come in today to Habet and Habet and Brothers Habet this Super Handy Dads month and pick up these super deals at super savings.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Make we one house at a time, make we count for the 2022 census. One house at a time, make we count, work towards the future. Everybody count. We need information and your cooperation. Everybody in the Belize population. Mommy, daddy pick me on the senior section. Plus we need help from the youth population. From all over, we need data to measure development in every area. Every aspect in a Belizean culture. 88, 67, every border. Make we count for the 2022 census. One house at a time, make we count, work towards the future. Everybody count.
The 2022 Population and Housing Census. Participate, respond, be counted.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times, and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Pro bowler Reggie Bullock arrived in Belize this afternoon and visited the Mexico Sports Center, where dozens of high school students from across the city were participating in a basketball tournament. His trip to the Jewel is for some much-needed rest and relaxation after his team, the Dallas Mavericks, was eliminated during the NBA's Western Conference Finals. Beyond spending personal time enjoying the country, Bullock reached out to the Ministry of Home Affairs and suggested an engagement with these secondary school students, some of whom are at risk of joining gangs.
Well, I was contacted by the Ministry of Home Affairs through CEO Kevin Arters. They had been contacted by Mr. Reggie Bullock, who was coming to Belize on vacation. And he reached out wanting to engage with our young people, have a conversation with them and kind of, really make an impact on their lives. So what we're doing here is just to facilitate that for them, for him actually, and to give these young people an opportunity to meet an NBA player, something that they may never get an opportunity to do.
If you notice around the city or the country, what is happening is they are doing a lot of programs for people who are already in gangs. These kids are at-risk kids. So to do something like this for them, to show them that somebody of this nature can come and speak to them positively, it's something great for them. And I think we need to have more positive things like this within our society for our high school students as well.
It's all a part of us implementing this new approach to fighting crime, particularly in Belize City. As you mentioned, on the last occasion, we brought an NFL Hall of Famer, Ed Reed, and he really wanted to visit in the prisons and visit with those at-risk youth and to inspire them and motivate them and certainly lead them on a more positive path in life. Today we're extremely grateful to have with us an NBA star who was in the Western Conference Finals. He is, in fact, a starting player for the Dallas Mavericks. He just set the franchise record for the Dallas Mavericks with 53 pointers in the playoffs. And he's also, and this part is near and dear to me, he's also the recipient of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Award. And that means so much to me that he is actually here, because as Belizeans, we always appreciate and we're very proud when celebrities come to Belize to vacation. And we're even more proud when they come and they want to invest in Belize and they love Belize. But the huge and added bonus in all of this is when you have somebody like a Reggie Bullock who wants to give back, who wants to meet with the locals, who wants to interact with our youth and certainly make a positive impact in their lives.
What I'm hoping from this is that they can really get a clearer picture of what it takes to excel in basketball, see someone who is at that level but finds them important enough to come and engage with them. You know, many times our young people don't feel valued, but you have an NBA player who chose to come to our country and speak to you guys. So I'm hopeful they find credit in that, find value in that, and that inspires them.
Today, the Ministry of Education, Culture, E-Governance, Science and Technology officially inaugurated the Hattieville Community Library. It will be a safe space primarily for youths in the village to access information, as well as internet and computers to do their schoolwork and engage in learning.
Hundreds of students live in Hattieville and for years have been without access to library services or a safe space to do necessary research, to complete assignments and more. Today, community members gathered on Sylvester Boulevard for the inauguration of the Hattieville Community Library.
The library has evolved into more than just books. If you notice, not even the name is only the Belize National Library Service any longer. It's now the Belize National Library Service and Information Systems. This means that the library has evolved into the age of technology. And therefore, the services offered by the library have expanded. So now our children, our young adults, and even some of our adults don't go to the library just to read books. They also go there to experience new worlds by the touch of a finger on a button.
There are currently 47 community libraries across the country, and while they may be small in structure, what lies within is great. It is about sharing information that can help an individual with continued education. However, Minister of Education Francis Fonseca wants the libraries to contain works of Belizean authors and artists.
It's a modest building, it's a modest start, but it's an important contribution to the Hattieville community, because libraries are all about information, sharing information, all about education, making sure that our young people and any citizen really of this community can have access to a safe environment, a safe place where they can sit down and do research and do their homework and get information that will help them in their education, with their education. I love when I go into a library and I see Belizean art. And I want to see Belizean art in our libraries. The libraries should be community spaces where we display the work of our Belizean people, the art of our Belizean people. So I want to see the Belizean authors, the books of Belizean authors. I want to see those up front. We need to promote our people. We need to promote our people, our art, our artistic community. Put up our Belizean art on the walls. Bring our culture into the library.
Area Representative Dolores Balderramos Garcia, in whose constituency the library was installed, says dreams do come true.
The absolute commitment of our government, especially our Minister of Education, to spearhead the bridging of what we call the digital divide. In other words, we must make sure that our children throughout the country have access to internet so that they can work with their devices. It's a joint effort, and I'm so glad that we were able to make the beginning of this dream come true and for it to continue so that the kids can really get ahead in our Hattieville community.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
The Belize Electricity Limited and the Belize Water Services Limited have shown where the cost of providing the country with light and water has gone up and felt there should be consideration given down the road for rates to be increased. The Public Utilities Commission has agreed that the time for a rate increase is not now, and so does the Minister of Public Utilities, Michelle Shibat. But while the minister said that the government is doing all that it can to protect consumers, at some point, some things got to give.
Unfortunately, the cost of fuel has skyrocketed and spiraled, and it has caused the delivery of services to become more expensive. And I think we need to take into consideration that these utility companies, especially BL, depend on fuel. And so the cost of them delivering service has certainly increased. I know that the Public Utilities Commission had approved an increase. BL says this is not the time for it. They did not think that it is the moment for it. And as a government, we do not feel it is the moment to raise our electricity rates. It is hard, and government has been subsidizing many aspects of the economy as best as we can. And I think we're going to do our best to try to keep down the rates as best as we can. But eventually, something must give. There are certain costs that we as a government can't control, the cost of fuel being one of them. And I think as consumers, we have a bit of a responsibility to make sure we're doing what we can to save ourselves some money.
Belize, as a country that relies heavily on imports, depends on the ports to receive goods as well as to ship goods abroad. But we sometimes run into problems because the system which we still subscribe to does not always meet international standards. That is an area that the government is looking to enhance shortly, as the minister responsible for ports, Michelle Shibat, told the media on Thursday.
I think we need to look at our entire port system. The ports play a critical part in our economy, and we have to make sure that our ports are efficient and that they provide the correct avenues for our manufacturers and producers to be able to ship our goods and services. Take into consideration that the government of Belize does not own any port in Belize. We are only the policymakers and the regulators. And so we try our best to keep in constant dialogue with the port operators to make sure that they are maintaining a certain standard and that they're creating new avenues for our Belizean producers.
Just ahead, Sabrina Daly looks at the work that REMAR is doing in rehabilitating substance abusers.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
After a rough week of school, Jake and his friends decide to treat themselves to frozen coffee. And since they don't have cash on them, they decide to use eCash. With eCash's geolocation feature, Jake can easily find the nearest coffee spot. With eCash's built-in option to split bills, Jake can pay the bill and his friends can reimburse their portion of the bill. Jake scans the merchant's code and confirms payment. Jake then views his transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made, then taps the Split the Bill button where he selects the Evenly option to evenly split the bill. The application splits the bill automatically. His friends receive and accept the request. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash makes Jake enjoy his digital lifestyle.
Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo Messi! What an incredible strike from Leo Messi! Neymar and Messi is standing over this. Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo
Great entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
There are many Belizeans who are struggling with issues of substance and physical abuse, and many of them believe that there is nowhere to turn to. But there is one faith-based organization that continues to go above and beyond in helping to rehabilitate as many of these individuals as possible. Tonight on The Bright Side, Sabrina Daly looks at the work that is being done at REMAR.
On The Bright Side is brought to you by Uno, a brand committed with the future.
The last time Juan Gonzalez was in front of a camera, he was 15 years old in Mexico. He was caught stealing at a shoe factory.
I remember the first time I never have to thief a pair of shoes or a pants or a t-shirt. They just give me, and sometimes I talk bad to them, and what they come to do is to give me a hug and say, take your time and everything will be all right. And that things come to a stranger to me because I'm already forgot all about good things on family or the association, right?
He took me back to a time in his life as a young adult battling drug abuse. He was a tourist in Central America, but not on vacation. Juan was fighting his demons of addiction, running from the law and running from the reality of his life.
Now I could say, and those times I never realized, but now I could say I used to lose the hope. I used to have the sense of life. I reached to a point that I don't care about even myself, you know. I just try to survive. I just try to take what I want, you know, anytime I want. That's why I go through a lot of problems. Your body feel needs, right? You feel hungry. You feel like you want to sleep, you know. And so you feel when you have those addicts. You feel like you need to support that. You don't feel well without it, you know. And you have to looking for it. And that is the problem when you have the need, and a lot of people don't trust you anymore because they already then brings you to another things, push you to do things worse, you know. But it's very hard.
In 2005, Juan joined the REMAR rehabilitation program. What started as a myopic view to find peace after a 3-year prison sentence turned into a long-lasting friendship, spiritual peace, and comfort.
We are a ministry that don't rely on any psychiatrists or psychologists at all, any medication. Everybody that comes into the ministry or comes into the center does cold turkey withdrawals, and we help them through the love of God and through each other. We don't replace a drug with a drug. We replace a drug with support. Support from the people, support from your responsibles or the people that are in charge, support from me or my wife or even my kids. At the end of the day, that's the fundamental of REMAR, is that we all live in community, we all stand together, we're all together. And if one person goes through a tough time, we all stand together with that person and we push that person through. And that's what it's about. We don't replace one drug with one drug, we replace a drug with support.
Remar Belize was established 25 years ago in 1997. What looks like a storefront of thrift goods supports a machinery of goodwill behind the scenes. One of its primary services is rehabilitation for persons fighting issues of abuse. Whether it's abuse of drugs or women and children facing abuse, their rehabilitation program provides service through various facets of support.
It takes a person with a real bad addiction maybe between 15 and 30 days to get off drugs completely. It takes about a year for the drug to release or to leave the body exactly. Then you know that you are totally clean off the drugs or the alcohol. A lot of the drug rehabilitation centers you go to, if you come in for drugs or alcohol, anything like that, they replace it with a certain drug that you can get in a pharmacy or in a drugstore. Internationally, we don't do that because it's replacing one addiction with another addiction. And 99% of the times, the medication they give you is actually a little bit worse than what the addiction was, or the drug or the alcohol that you were on outside.
The uniqueness of Remar's rehabilitation program goes beyond escaping the grip of addiction in an unconventional way. These persons offering support have been in the same position, either victims of abuse or substance abusers themselves.
Every person that's in the ministry has either had a bad background of abuse or with abuse from a relative or from a sibling or whatever the situation is. And we all basically come from the same backgrounds. I'm actually a drug addict myself, or was a drug addict for many years. I've been clean now almost 7 years. My testimony of my wife, I can say a little bit as well. My wife only dipped in a little bit into the situation of drugs. She comes from abusive relationships. She actually ran away from a last abusive relationship with her 2 kids with nothing, just with the clothes on their backs, and that's it. So at the end of the day, for them to contact me or to contact Felicia, my wife can actually talk them through it because she's been there, she's done it, and there's a few other ladies that's in the ministry as well that have gone through that situation as well. So it's a matter of them interacting with somebody else that's gone through the same situation, for them to see where their power is and to see where their options is, for them to cut that link between the person that's abusing them and themselves.
Helping persons fight addiction similar to Juan's is only a part of the work Remar does. The organization also supports other vulnerable groups in Belize. The resurgence of a feeding program for children in the morning is also taking place, and the facility will also provide meals in the afternoon for displaced persons and the elderly. But Remar does not take full credit. Its service comes from a collective effort with stakeholders, both internationally and locally.
We're also in the position now, because we've been really abundantly blessed through all the people that are actually helping us in Belize, that when we get, let's say, for example, milk, it's too much milk for us, then we support orphanages, we support the people in the streets, in the villages, all that type of stuff. We give out a bit of milk here and there. Whatever we've got, we don't keep for ourselves. Obviously, we've got our community, we use what we need to use in our community, and the rest we give out to whoever needs, to the poor, to the needy, and that's what we've got at the moment, yes.
But for people like Juan, Remar represents a second chance at life, a second attempt at making it right. Where he once shoplifted clothing, Juan now sells it. We stopped in to see him, his wife, and his son making a day's earning at their stall at the Michael Finnegan Market on Saturday morning. This time around, the camera caught him earning an honest keep. Looking on the bright side, I'm Sabrina Daly.
On the Bright Side was brought to you by Uno, a brand committed with the future.
That's the sound of fuel efficiency. Every day, every time, I choose Uno Fuels, powered with Dynamax. Uno, a brand committed with the future.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Annalyn Apollonia. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.